Hello there gorgeous gamers, and welcome back to Pure Play TV for another video review, and this time we're looking at Mafia Definitive Edition, which is out now on PS4, Xbox One and PC, though the version we're looking at in this video was tested running on Xbox Series XS and Xbox One X. The game is fully backwards compatible, so if you have a PS5 or a Series XS casting massive shadows across your living room, it'll be just fine on those consoles. Mafia Definitive Edition is a complete remake of the original Mafia game from 2002, and I've not played the original. I'm guessing that many players will be getting their first taste of Tommy Angelo's story with this remake. So if you're like me, a first timer, don't worry. It's okay to be a newbie, and honestly, you're getting the best possible version of the Prohibition era gangster crime story. It all begins with Tommy Angelo, a humble taxi driver who, by luck or misfortune, depending on how you look at it, is forced into using his cab as a getaway car for two members of the Salieri crime family. After this brush with the criminal underworld and a taste of what the family can provide in terms of compensation, Tommy is still reluctant to step over the line, instead favouring his honest job as a cabbie. That is, until he's ambushed by a couple of Morello's men, and he runs into the Salieri family once more. They save his bacon, he joins their ranks. Simple. The word cinematic is often thrown around with reckless abandon when it comes to modern games. Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us 2 spring to mind, as they are often referred to as cinematic masterpieces of gaming. I don't think they are. Mafia Definitive Edition though, yes, in every sense. Before we carry on with this video, do us a favour and hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, and give the bell a ding too, so you're the first to know when we've got new stuff. Cheers my dears. Despite Mafia being an open world game, you're never really given a free run of the city. Instead, you're guided from chapter to chapter by elaborately constructed missions, interspersed with cutscenes straight out of a Scorsese flick. Normally, in a game with so many cutscenes, I'm rolling my eyes. That wasn't the case here. I looked forward to every single cutscene. They're so well done too. Motion captured performances bring the cast to life, and I've got to give massive claps to the cast, as well as the crew, for the very authentic cinematography. Bested so far by none. This is how you make a movie game. It's not all cutscenes though, and you will spend most of your time actually playing, but everything is done just right. The cutscenes come in at the right moments, and they never linger any longer than required. They tell their story and set up what you're going to do next, all with a coating of old school gangster movies. The story itself is straight out of 80s Hollywood. You've got the young, up-and-coming Tommy who joins the Salieri family, headed by Don Salieri, who looks every bit an Italian gangster. You've got the perpetual war with the opposing crime outfit, the Morello family. You've got a bit of romance with the doting wife who doesn't ask too many questions when her man comes home covered in somebody else's blood. And of course, you've got fractures within the organisation and, without giving too much away, the classic twists and turns that come with Gangsters for Friends. Not everybody makes it out alive, and come the credits, I found myself reflecting on the ones we lost along the way in this 15-hour epic. What I didn't mourn were some of the modernisations. Hangar 13 has done a great job in recreating Lost Heaven, the fictional city that's rife with crime, and at times it's really astounding what has been achieved, especially when you consider the hardware that this game is running on. On the other hand, some of the gameplay systems are a little less pretty, with gunplay and combat in general being one of the weakest aspects of the game. Utilising the engine and advancements made with Mafia 3, I'd have expected the combat to fall more in line with Hangar 13's first outing. Alas, it's not to be, and instead, the gunplay is imprecise, fiddly, and not really welcome in 2020 and beyond. I get that the creators probably wanted to convey the lack of actual marksmanship of gangsters and their spray and pray approach, but I often found myself frustrated at not being able to hit my mark when I needed to most. Melee brawling is also a step back from Mafia 3, with a simple system of beating and countering. Fine enough, but something that really irked me was that when the counter icon appears on an enemy, you better press that button and only that button, otherwise you're getting a knuckle sandwich. You can't break this animation by continuing to punch. It's a small annoyance, sure, but it's a small problem that really shouldn't have made its way into the game, considering that 4 years previous, Hangar 13 did it much better with Mafia 3. My complaints are few and far between with Mafia Definitive Edition. I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the long drives between missions and the super cool old cars I got to throw around Lost Heaven streets. And even when the combat wasn't up to my liking, I was still kept in the moment with the outstanding atmosphere and presentation, as well as the music. I often get ridiculed for being a bit of an old man, but I genuinely enjoy a lot of the 30s swing jazz that plays over the in-game radio, and I spent Christmas evening driving around the city listening to old-timey tunes after everyone else had gone to bed. That's how I get mine. I don't care how you get yours. Now, a bit about performance and how it looks and runs across the different line of Xbox consoles. First of all, a little bit of bad news. Unfortunately, Mafia Definitive Edition does not have any Xbox Series X, S enhancements, which is a shame because while the game is a looker and it runs more or less at a locked 30 FPS, I just couldn't shake the feeling that there's more to give. The resolution tops out at around 1440p, which is excellent if you're playing on a 1440p monitor, and it still looks quite good on a 1080p screen too, as well as a 4K TV. Native 4K would have been nice though, and it would have given a nice bit of extra clarity. And 60 FPS? Come on, that's a no-brainer, and I'm disappointed to see that there's no such option here. It would have helped with the responsiveness during combat, as well as giving a nicer, more fluid feel to the game. It's a shame then that what you're playing on Series XS is basically the same as the One X, albeit with a far more stable frame rate. Those wee niggles aside though, you've got yourself a very impressive game with some really gorgeous graphics and effects. The game doesn't use ray traced reflections, obviously, but there's still something to be said about the way the game does handle reflections. At times, it's more than enough to trick my little brain, and it can look very realistic under the right conditions. Character models are really detailed too, and this is shown off to the fullest extent during the game's cinematics, with the character faces being pushed up front and centre to allow for greater scrutiny, and they really hold up quite well. If you found yourself finished with Goodfellas and the Godfather trilogy, but you want more, meh, won't catch me, copper, see? Then I thoroughly recommend Mafia Definitive Edition. It's easily the best of the trilogy and perhaps one of the best games of 2020. It's certainly placing high on my list of favourites. And that's the end of this review. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, go ahead and let us know in the comments. And do be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons below too, along with the bell icon so you're notified whenever we've got new stuff. I've been Chris, see? And you've been Wise Guys. Until next time, see? See ya. See? See ya.